Hello, everybody. Roxanne Langley, Houston financial coach here. I wanted to talk to you this week about, and we've all been there, falling behind. Falling behind on the bills, maybe multiple bills, maybe only one. You know, cue the highest frustration level available when you fall behind, because it can absolutely feel impossible to catch up, whether it's a mortgage, whether it's a credit card bill. It can feel impossible to catch up once you fall behind. I can remember for several years, the times of walking to the mailbox and dreading what was waiting for me there. Instead of all the cute magazines, there were envelopes marked with these words, and they're always in big letters, past due, termination notice. Anyway, they were usually in red, and I used to always catch myself thinking, oh gosh, I hope I never run into the mail carrier, because he's just going to think I am a total deadbeat. So I would go to the mailbox late, usually after the sun went down, to make sure that I wouldn't run into anybody or into the mail carriers or anybody, But the fact is, we've all been there. It has happened, it does happen to all of us. Payment delays happen, and especially this year. Have you been hit with an unplanned career change, family emergency, a job loss? Are you furloughed? I mean, like many of us, you could probably answer yes to several of those. And, suddenly your income isn't enough to meet what you owe in just the basics, the housing, utilities, even minimum payments and such each month. But falling behind on your financial obligations is not the end of the world. I used to think it was, and it felt like it. And yes, it can cause, long-lasting challenges, and none of us want to be there, but we take it one day at a time, and it's not impossible to get caught up. So if you're feeling overwhelmed with unpaid bills, never-ending interest, late fees, here are some of my steps to help you start moving in a positive direction. First and foremost, make a list of the bills missed and those coming due soon. So, really the first step is begin keeping careful track of which payments you're delaying, when each of them are due, and whether or not you'll owe additional money, such as late fees, for missing them, for missing the payment. Getting organized will let you see exactly how much you owe, so you can start making decisions on how to best allocate your money and whether delaying additional payments and which payment is the right move for you. You have to see it in black and white. After you have a list of everything that you owe, place each of those in order by importance. Now, this will help you focus your repayment efforts on the bills you feel are most important or carry the highest costs, such as interest rates or late fees. You want to be aware of any missed payments that could lead to legal or significant financial trouble. You want to avoid collection calls. From an earlier video that I've done this year, I talked about covering your four walls. The bills that cover your four walls are your most important. They allow you to keep a roof over your family's head. So be sure your rent or your mortgage payments are at the top of that list. Follow that with your utilities and your food. Now, if you can't afford your mortgage or rent, if it's your mortgage, call the mortgage lender and talk to them. Tell them what's going on. If you are unable to pay your rent, talk to your landlord, and talk to them. If you are so behind that even, buying food, I highly recommend you start with your local churches and the city food banks to find distribution sites. After these necessities, prioritize any work-related expenses, such as your car payment, phone bills, and then focus on loans and other debts as the last. But cover your four walls first. Now, once you know which bills you're not able to pay, or you're not able to, maybe their minimum payment is $100 and you can only pay $50. Calling your creditors is a great next step. If you communicate with your creditors about your current financial struggles, they are way more flexible with repayment plans. They may change terms. Possibly, they will even drop late fees and penalties. Calling Visa, MasterCard, or your mortgage company first is huge. You call them. Don't wait till they call you. Most all the companies are doing things now, such as waiving late fees or lowering interest rates temporarily. If you need to call and ask them, this is what you want to say. What options are you providing others with the same challenges as I'm having now? You don't need to give them a full-blown list. Keep it short, keep it factual, and above all, keep it professional. Something like, I was laid off at work on June 1st, whatever that date is, and I'm currently job searching, but my income has been greatly reduced, and I want to stay current as much as possible, and I need to know my options. What options are you providing others with the same challenges as I'm having now? It could be, I have a family member and there's been a medical emergency, whatever that is, but keep it professional and just give them the facts, and they'll work with you. Even if you can't pay your bills, pretending they don't exist isn't your best strategy. I used to think it was, but yeah, they kept coming every month. So ignoring them, all that does is knock your stress level up even higher. It leads to penalties being added, higher interest rates, and then of course it damages your credit standing. So don't ignore them, please. Now when you're trying to put this all together, and especially now when it's a whole lot tougher, make a budget. I know I said that dreaded B word again, didn't I? But I promise you it really does help, and it really does work. Once you know how much you owe, you've talked to the creditors, you've negotiated some repayment, maybe without an interest or a lower interest rate, but at least you won't be having any late fees if you've been able to negotiate that. It's time to track how much you're earning and review your monthly budget knowing how much cash is coming into your household, when the cash will hit your bank account, and knowing what you need for, to meet all your expenses will help you stay on track. If you've signed up for unemployment, you have X amount of dollars. You can, if you're doing some side hustles or anything, count that money in, add that to your income. Now, you can start your budget by you create two lists. One with the sources of your income. So let's say whether it's a reduced paycheck from your current employer or your unemployment, or maybe it's a combination of those, and maybe, if you have one or two side hustles that you're doing, count all of that as your source of income. And then your other list are your expenses. Sort your expenses by fixed cost, your rent, insurance, your car payment. That is a set amount, is a fixed amount that you pay every month. And then the variable ones, where the amount changes each week or month, such as your groceries. You may spend $75 this week, but you may only spend $60 next week. So those are your variables. After you learn how to make a budget, you want to track your spending to help you stick to it. So this allows you to identify your spending patterns and see some areas maybe where you're overspending. Look at your previous month's bank statement, that is, or credit card statement, whichever one you're using. That's a great spot to start. Look at your categories and see where you're spending and how much. Now, there's a rabbit hole that can be very tempting when you're in a financial bind. They come to you and they say, oh, we can renegotiate or change the terms of your debt. And while it can be a lot of work to do this on your own, in my opinion, it's better for you. There are companies out there that will make these telephone calls for you. And unfortunately, they will promise things that maybe you would not have promised. So don't get yourself in even deeper than you may already be. No one knows exactly your situation better than you, or as your financial coach, this is actually one of the few areas that I can walk through and set in on a telephone call with you, just to listen. I just want to make sure you're getting the right information. It's something that in the long term, it's possible you'll pay more than the original debt while the credit score takes a bigger hit. But so, sometimes you just need a set of ears that's on your side to make sure. So if you need help negotiating or, finding out your options if you are behind, please reach out to me and let me know. I'll be more than happy to set in on a telephone call with you. Falling behind on our bills is undeniably stressful, but with some organization, budgeting, yes, the B word again, and just watching our spending, you can actually have a better understanding of your financial situation. It will allow you to make a plan to catch up with your bills and gain much better control over your financial future. So if you need help or have questions about setting up the budget, I actually there is another video here, another YouTube video I did earlier this year, and the title of it is Budgeting When You've Been Laid Off. It walks you step by step. It shows you everything. It's a little dated with the pandemic and the unemployment information. The figures may be a little off from what they are now when you're viewing it. Um, but it's, the steps are the same. So as always, if you have any questions, comments, if you like this video, please let me know. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I so appreciate you supporting me. And again, thank you. And you can reach out to me at also roxannefinancialcoach.com. Thank you, and have a great remainder of the day.